Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Tonight's video is not sponsored by anybody. It is just me wanting to show you a layering stamp set from Kitchen Sink Stamps. I love kitchen sink stamps. I think they're so much fun and they are so realistic looking. And recently a crafty friend of mine had a D-stash, and one of the stamp sets that she was selling was this multi-step pairs. So I snatched it up and it just came in the mail yesterday and I already made a card with it. So this is the card that I made, and it's sort of a Valentine's Day card. It could be Galentine's because the sentiment is we make a perfect pair. And I'm just going to get started. Let me grab my Misty and go ahead and start layering. One thing that's nice about the kitchen sink stamps is you will have basically this sheet that gives you an idea of which pieces to layer: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth. And they also provide you with suggestions on some colors to use. That's what they call the recipe card. And the recipe card looks like this. And it gives you some hints on, not like it doesn't tell you the colors, but it shows you, in other words, the colors. And so like which ones are lightest, which ones are darkest. And when it comes to a pair, you've got your green greens, your yellow greens, and a little bit of yellow. So, okay, we're going to start, let me see here. We're going to start with the big pair. And here you'll see the big pair. What's cool about it is they look very real, very realistic. That's what's so cool about these. And the big pair has 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I start with number 4. So I start with number 4. Now these are going to be cut out and placed in on a, for lack of a better word, table that I created, a table and a bowl. So I don't really have to worry about where I line them up at on the paper. I'm just going to go ahead and line them up. So number 4, I am using Bamboo Leaves. Bamboo Leaves is a color from Memento. So I have assortment of inks that I have basically been drawing from. I don't have just one brand of inks. I've got Memento inks, Brutus Monroe inks, Hero Art inks. And so you'll see as I go along how I use what I have, all right? It does help to use a Misty or some other kind of stamp alignment tool. I'm going to go up a little bit higher so that I'm not getting completely cut off the screen. All right, so this is number 4. I'm going to do that with Bamboo Leaves. And I'm going to wait and clean my stamps at the end just to save time. But what I will do is put them back on the card here, at least on the outside of the card here in the spot where they're going to go. All right, then we need to grab number 3. And this is where the layering comes into play. You just want to layer these up, and they have guide spots for you to use to get the right layer, the right alignment, excuse me. All right, that's number 3. And I use Cabbage. That's something of a Brutus Monroe color. Okay, so let's get the Cabbage for this one. Okay, looks good. Next, we want number 2. Okay, number 2. And for number 2, I use Pear Tart from Memento. So switching over to Memento. Okay. Oh, that's looking good. And then finally, number 1, which is pretty much a solid image and doesn't have any kind of indentations or grooves in it. It's nice smooth. And for that, I actually use a yellow. It's called Dandelion from Memento. And I find that this makes a nice highlight. I'll show you what I mean here. Oh my goodness, it looks real. Oh, just amazing. I'm going to repeat that on the other side of this piece of paper, starting over again with number 4, and we're going to use bamboo leaves. Okay, number 3, make sure I grab the right one here. Okay, number 3. All right, and for number 3, we're going to use Cabbage, a Brutus Monroe color. All right, number 2, we use Pear Tart. Okay, Pear Tart. And then the last one for this is number 1, and that uses Dandelion, which is a Memento ink color. Okay. Dandelion, here it is. Now, next we will move on to the stems and then the leaves. All right, so here we go with our dandelion. And there we go. Looks like there are 2 pairs in a photograph on my piece of paper, if you ask me. Okay, the stems have 2 little components. I've already lost one because they're so tiny. I'm hoping that I find it. If I tried to check for where it might have fell on my floor, but it's just a little stem here, and I'm going to use my tool just to help me line it up and to get it right in a notch there. So this is so the stems are numbered 5 and 6, and this is number 5 because I lost number 6. So I'm going to use some rich cocoa from Memento for the stem. You know, stems aren't perfect. You know, they grow at funny angles, and any kind of fruit that has a stem doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily perfect coming out of the fruit. So don't stress out over this. Just get it lined up and go with it. And then you'll have your stem stamped out. All right. Try not to lose that part of it. Next, we are moving on to the leaves. The leaves has 3 parts. And I start with, I don't start with number 1, I start with number 3. And the number 3 leaf here, hold on one second, let me find my guide here and make sure that I'm grabbing the right one. Okay, Number 1 is actually the most solid. So actually I start with number 3. Number 3 is sort of like the one that has the most cutout. And I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right, but you'll see here once I stamp it. So number 3 is Jurassic, which is a Brutus Monroe color. And I guess when I say cutout, I mean sort of like texture. That's what I'm trying to say. This one has the most texture out of all of the leaves. Okay, there you go. You can see that there's that. What I think I'll do is I'll bump it over to the other side to save myself from walking through this step by step over again. Might as well, right? Okay, like I did with the pears. Okay, again, just this Jurassic from Brutus Monroe. Leaves can go in different directions. They don't have to go in the same direction. All right, so that was number 3. Let's grab number 2, which is got some detail cut out, but also is being a little bit more solid. Okay. You want to line up that vein and that leaf. That's how you get your leaf to line up correctly. Okay, number 2, I'm using a Hero Arts color called Lime Green. And now let's take it over to the other leaf. Again, this is Lime Green. Okay, and then finally, number 1 part of the leaf is, I'm going to use Pear Tart. You see, it's the most solid. Pear Tart. There we go. Okay, take it over to this side. Let's get this leaf ready, and then I'll start to fussy cut our pears and assemble the card. Whoa, that's not the right color. Pear Tart is what we're looking for. There you go. That was easy. It's not hard to do multi-layer stamps. You just have to experiment with your color. I mean, I like to experiment with my color recipe. You can go to the blog, the Kitchen Sink Stamps runs, and they give you a whole list of color recipes. That way, if you're not like me and you don't really want to spend any time trying to figure out which, inks match the best, as far as layer the best, they give you that information. And all you have to do is check out their blog to get that information. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut these these pears out. And they're not hard, they're just a basic shape, so it shouldn't take me too long here. I recently invested in a pair of these Cutter Bee scissors, and I'm telling you, they're nice and sharp. And I would definitely say to you, if you struggled before or struggle now for your fussy cutting, this might be the ticket for you. They're like $12.99 a pair, which isn't really that bad. If you have your coupon with you for one of the big box stores, you can get them at a discount. You don't have to pay the full price. There's just something about them that I like. I'll tell you what it is. This is all cushioned. That makes a big difference for me. The fact that that's cushioned. And I need that. Just because of arthritis. And just the fact that they're so stinking sharp. I mean, that, of all the scissors I've ever had, I would have to say this has been the sharpest pair that I've ever had. And I've had different fussy cutting scissors for sure. Almost done with our first pair. Just coming around the end here of our first pair. Okay, voila. Now pair number 2. I might speed this up on second thought because I see I'm already at like 16 minutes and I'm trying really hard to keep my videos less than like 18 minutes. I have a hard time even doing 15. If you would say to me, from now on, all your videos have to be 15 minutes, I would definitely struggle. It's just that I don't move very fast. That's my thing. I don't move very fast. I'd rather not rush because I find that when I rush, I make mistakes. And I'd rather take my time and get it right the first time than to have to rush and have a mistake and have to start all over again. All right. Now that we have our 2 pairs, let's go ahead and finish our card. So what I have here is this nice light green paper. And then, for lack of a better solution, I cut a table out of this. I have this cardstock that came in a big 12 by 12 pad. And it has like marble look to it. So I just cut a pedestal and a bowl to make sort of like a fruit stand. A table with fruit on it, basically. Okay, nothing too fancy here. I wanted something, though. I didn't want to just let the fruit just be kind of like dangling there in midair. So I like this paper, too. It reminds me of marble. All right, so that's the bottom of the table. Now we'll put our fruit bowl next. And then we'll tuck in the pears. Okay. I think I'm a little crooked here. That's what's nice about liquid adhesive. You can readjust it, you know. So this is pear number 1, tilted a little bit at an angle, tucked a little bit behind the bowl here. It's not exactly over top of it. It's sort of tucked behind it a little bit. Okay, and then this is the second pair of our pear. Oh, isn't that sweet? Okay, and then the sentiment, I also stamped that ahead of time, and I cut it out ahead of time. And it says, "We make a perfect pair." And I used VersaFine Clair Green Oasis ink for that. All right, so let me just make sure that sticks. I like this card. I mean, I think it's an alternative to the pinks and the purples and for Valentine's Day. I think it's kind of a masculine, you know, could be given to a guy. You can stamp hearts on it if you wanted to, but I'm really pleased with how this turned out. So if you like the card, please give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you think about kitchen sink stamps. I think that they're fantastic. And I do have several of their stamps. And I need to get them out and play with them more. But something like this is easy to work with and easy to develop something very nice. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for tuning in and have a hopeful day. Bye-bye.